My name's Michael Barnes-Wynters, known as Barney. I am an instigator. Grew up in Bristol, which was my grounding for a lot of my the ingredients that make me. From a Jamaican parentage, lived in a street which is very much like Sesame Street, so we had loads of different characters. I was very used to lots of different cultures, different sounds, different smells, different tastes. So I grew up with that going on, and I was lucky enough to have been living in a household which made all the Bristol music. So Massive Attack, Smith and May, all that kind of stuff. But the thing for me, the very first thing was when I was 18, I decided to put a fashion show on, which was quite a mad idea, really. And the idea for me was the fact of bringing people together. So I got the space, got people together, got different designers, I designed the flyers, promoted it, DJ'd it, and it became a bit of an institution in Bristol. It became a series of happenings. So this thing of getting people involved collaboratively in spaces, and magic happens. So I moved to Manchester. I moved to Manchester with Manchester in '89. Walked in and was lucky enough. My next door neighbour was the DJ at Hacienda. So I happened to get work within my first week designing flyers, and so that led to getting involved in a lot of things going on in Manchester at the time. I actually walked onto a degree course at the same time as well, graphics, design for communication media. And in my second year, I was invited into an exhibition with the likes of Peter Saville and the whole Manchester thing at the time. So it was very strange. I got involved and got drawn in because people couldn't ignore my work, because I was very street orientated as well. Stickers, stencils, just putting loads of stuff out, but very strong graphic. Typography being real close to my heart. And at that time, I struck up a really deep relationship with Central Station, who designed all the Happy Mondays stuff. So that goes on to this day. My journey is through Clubland in particular, which is where you can experiment. And a lot of my nights I viewed as installations. So they ran a series. So I'd run them for 3 months, and that was it. Never for a week, week on or month. I'd always just do it for a series, and it'd be very loaded with imagery. We made lots of videos. I do a lot of video making, and performative stuff, which is another part of me, sort of live art performance stuff, which is experimental. A lot of that going on in Manchester at the time, and right in amongst it all, I was approached at one point by a guy by the name of Andrew Carthy, and that's Mr. Scruff, and then that was another story. In terms of the graphics with him, I told him to just write doodle A to Z and give me some of his characters, and I basically created the graphic and came out with Mr. Scruff. Walked into Factory Records at the time, Hacienda, and presented a tape and said, can I put this out, which was Andy's first release, well, to be released, called Hocus Pocus, which is also a name of a night of mine. So I ended up putting out stuff on Rob's Records, which became Pleasure Records, for Mr. Scruff. So we've got an ongoing relationship. Love the guy. And at the same time, I was involved with a lot of other musicians and lots of giving people opportunities, which is, I suppose, why the term instigator, because I tend to be that catalyst that basically I pull people together, and I take risks, and I enjoy magic that happens, and it's very cross-platform as well. It's really sensory, so I'm really into going back to my childhood. Smelling. You could tell who lived behind each door just from the smells coming out of houses, or the colours of the doors, the sounds musically. So I've got all that going on. So it might be overwhelming to some people, or people just think, whoa. But there's I'm multi-faceted, I suppose. And then I worked at Contact Theatre for a long time, from '99 through to 2012 in Manchester, and that was an amazing experience, because that actually we led the way in terms of how a young person-led organisation should be. And so I programmed all the exhibitions, installations, residencies. I mean, I just went mental. It was really good. And a lot of people have come out of it, and that continues. And now I'm here in Hull, which I love. I've had a long-going relationship with it, going back to the mid-90s. Just think of Hull time-based arts. And musically as well, Pork Records, and the lovely Steve Cobby, a lot of respect for that man, Fila Brasilia, etc. And so I've had that relationship ongoing, and also over the last 5 years, the Museum of Club Culture, because I've had a very long relationship with known Mark Wiggin since the 80s, and have been, he's done lots of stuff with me over the years. Something I didn't miss, I missed out, was called International Doodlebug Day, which I ran for about 9 years on a trot, which was the beginning of street art per se, network set up. That's another conversation, but going to back to Museum of Club Culture, I've been involved in that from its opening in 2012, and of course Freedom Festival, and then last year I landed this job for project manager for Roots and Wings Art for Hull. My thing has been working with individuals. I say the makers, thinkers and tinkers, producers, artists, creators and educators, and that has been brilliant. I've really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to more.
Thank you. Yeah. They've got it on good.